Welcome to Smut and Sensibility,
a podcast for romance readers and romance writers.
By romance readers and writers.
We are Amber,
Allie,
and Marie,
a group of learned ladies who love talking about the romance genre.
In this podcast, we will talk about our favorite books, writing craft, and how we make room for a creative life in real time.
So buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Smut and Sensibility, a podcast for romance readers and writers by romance readers and writers. I'm Allie. I'm a doctor, writer, and after-hours academic studying English, social, and local history at Oxford part-time.
Yes, you are, and it's so impressive. Hi, everyone. I'm Amber. I'm a corporate attorney by day and a romance reader and writer by night.
I love it. So welcome back to today's episode. We are doing another little manuscript mini-sode. And this one I'm really excited to chat about because we're going to be talking a little bit more about a project that we are actively both working on kind of on the side. And I think that'll be a fun convo because I need to do some ideating because I literally haven't had a minute to think about it. So Amber, you can hopefully help me and guide me on what I need to do. But everybody who is listening, thank you so much for joining us today. We would so appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. We are on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Smut and Sensibility Pod. And you can listen to us also audio only on Apple Podcasts and Spotify under Smut and Sensibility Podcast. And so thank you everyone who has already followed us and liked and subscribed. It really makes a huge difference. And we just have loved interacting with you guys. And if you're able to, we would so appreciate a 5-star review. It helps us move up in the algorithm and connect with other readers and writers who
help
love
us
romance.
Connect, find our book besties.
Yeah. Because that's what this is all about too, is, finding people that love what you love, which is love stories. So yeah.
Yes. So this week, instead of talking about our current works in progress, through Smut University, we're doing a project that's called A Minnesotan's Guide to Breaking the Ice. As a reminder, for those of you who may be new listeners, Allie and I met through a writing group called Smut University. It is a fake university with real writers led by Sam Cheetah, who is a published author. And during the week, we do Zoom sprints from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then also there's class Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, where you go and workshop your story. And then there's also events throughout the year. We do writing workshops. Also, what we're going to talk about today is a special anthology. So there's just a lot of really cool things about Smut University in general, and I think any writing group. So if you still are on the fence, if you want to write a story or you enjoy writing, I think finding community always elevates and brings extra joy to any kind of project. So I don't think Allie and I can talk positively enough about a writing community and Smut University in general.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Right?
And it's we've had other published authors that have come on and given us sort of craft talk lectures. We've had agents come, we've done query letter stuff, just kind of in and around the publishing biz. And it's just it's a great group. And if you're interested, we'll have info down in the links below. But I can't, like Amber said, can't speak highly enough of it. It's helped my writing and it's connected me with a really awesome, amazing group of people that are really good friends. We could always, this is not a no new friends podcast. New friends are always welcome. So
more book besties,
the more the merrier.
The better.
And yeah, so can't speak highly enough. And like Amber had mentioned, Smut U is doing an anthology. So can you tell us
so this is what we're here to talk about this week. Yeah, so the anthology that we all are working on right now is the title, if it's the same when it's released, but right now the working title is A Minnesotan's Guide to Breaking the Ice. So this came up through our writing group, as we just talked about, Smut University. And, it's no secret what's happening in Minnesota and Minneapolis, St. Paul in particular, with the organized raids and targeted attacks from the federal government through ICE on our local communities. It's been heavy for everyone. There are quite a few members in Smut University that do live in Minnesota and in the Twin Cities area in particular. So it's felt very heavy on our Zoom writings. But it's also nice to have community to just not be alone in your sadness or what's going on. But Sam, our beloved headmistress, as always, came up with this idea of combining our passion in our art and activism together to write romance stories to combat ICE. So all proceeds to this anthology is going to go to an organization that will help our communities here in the Twin Cities area, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, in Minnesota, to help combat the negative impacts that many families are experiencing as a result of the influx of ICE raids here in Minnesota. So that's kind of really neat that it came off the cuff as a way for us to feel like we could give back and help in the ways we could, but also protesting through art, right? Just feels really good.
I think in these times, I think it's important to kind of look at different ways that like you can enact, and demonstrate like activism, right? For lots of different reasons. Not everyone is able to do certain things. And, there are financial ways that you can, protest, and there are creative ways that you can make a statement and use your voice. And obviously then there's like, physically being, at a protest or a rally or something like that and using your physical body. And I think that, all of these ways are valid ways. And I think just celebrating creativity in this way as a way to like both process, things that are going on as well as like making a statement. And I think that this is just like a beautiful example of, a project that is coming out of a need to support community, that we can also find joy in the act of creation as well, sort of as a response to that. So I think it's really cool, and I'm really proud of Sam, and I'm excited to work on the story because Allie lore is such that my current work in progress actually started as a short story project for one of our smutties that we had written a story for during a challenging time for them, and that is sort of what spawned my spy story. So who knows what will come from this for me, but I do love a prompt. So
You do.
I do.
Yeah. So it started out with like, there's lots of focus on different sports. Obviously, heated rivalry right now is very popular, as it should be. I mean, we need a whole separate episode on how amazing heated rivalry is. The yearning and the quiet. Anyway, Amber, don't go down that path yet. Don't go down that path. But yeah, so the story has to have ice in it. So I'm doing a curling story. Someone's doing hockey. There's an ice out, an ice castle, an ice bar. So if you kind of get it, it's all going to be iced themed, or there has to be ice in the story, like the actual frozen water ice, not the federal government agent ice.
Yeah, exactly. So we've kind of got a winter sport, winter activity themed anthology, essentially, which is fun and timely.
And a love story.
Yeah,
romance,
exactly.
smut, sexy scene, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. This is the tricky part, is that it's the word count requirement is like 1 to 3,000 words. So
I struggle with this.
I notoriously see
hard.
So hard. And I notoriously see these word counts and I'm like, okay, so I see that you want 1 to 3. Would you like 5 to 7? Would you like the first 3 chapters, perhaps, of a new work in progress? Because that's ultimately what I end up doing. And it's hard for me sometimes, I think, to create a like encapsulated story that is, we're taking you through like all of the things in 1 to 3,000 words. I've done it before for like some contests that I've like submitted for, but I think with these types of romantic stories, I tend to want to kind of give sort of like the first couple of chapters, because I'm like, ooh, this is my new runway. And I kind of
you need the background. You need to know about them. How do I establish the story to make it feel good and authentic? But you only have 1 to 3,000 words. So
I know.
Where are you going to start the story? You probably won't start in chapter 1 where you want to, right? It's going to be a scene in the middle. And how do you set up that scene that like we're jumping into it, like we're immediately invested? Because you got to be invested because you only have 1 to 3,000 words. So it's just like, it's a good exercise, but I always find you would think it would be easier, less words, just from like what you remember from school, right? Like, oh, you don't want to write a 500-word essay. Less words is better. But I think from a creative writing standpoint, to try to get the most impact, the less words to make the same amount of impact is always even a little more challenging, I think, even though it seems counterintuitive that it's less words.
Yeah, and I will say that one of the things that always gets me super excited about these prompts that we do like periodically, it seems like we do them kind of quarterly, for different events and things like that, different holidays and such. But the thing that makes me really excited about them is my brain really loves a challenge.
What?
What? I
No.
know. So that's like
You?
one of my like neurodivergent hacks for my brain is how can I make it fun or how can I work in like a challenge? So I find writing prompts to be very helpful like if I'm stuck in general. So thinking about this project of involving frozen water in some capacity, kind of having it be like a winter theme, this word count requirement and trying to come up with a story that sort of has my brain whirring. So I'm excited about it. We'll obviously update this with specific information,
In the links.
specific information about definitive donation location as well as release date. But we thought this would be kind of a fun behind the scenes look at like we're working on this project. It's a brand new thing that kind of came up. Like let's workshop it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about what we're working on.
Yeah. So should we dive in?
Let's do it. Amber.
Okay. Okay, I'll go first.
You've had more time because I was out of the country. So like
You're
I
in
was,
Oxford doing your long weekend, just being
Yes.
an
I was
academic,
really-
a scholar per se.
I was really focused on the Victorians and like specifically the Victorian railroads. So like what I was that's what I was studying for like
Don't threaten me
couple-
with a good
I-
time. You know
I
who would
know.
love that? I mean, maybe not the Victorian part. He wouldn't know better, but Lachlan is so into trains right now. I mean,
Oh,
we
yeah.
are just like trains and trains and trains. We
Yeah.
can never get enough. So he
It's-
would approve.
There was actually I love the Victorians, so I was like excited to have this like lecture weekend because fun fact about me, where I grew up, we had like a living museum and it had a gift shop. There was like a one room log cabin, one room schoolhouse. There was a blacksmith.
I was so confused when you said a living museum.
Yeah,
I'm
that's like what that's like, it's like a settlement,
yeah, I know.
these-
I don't know. I thought living creatures or like living body parts, like, the one where they sliced the human. I didn't get
Yeah.
living. I was like, where is this going and how
No,
is this
yeah, one of those
related?
types of museums. People are dressed up in like period costume. What
Mhm.
had me the most was like the women in the hoop skirts. I was like, how can I wear a hoop skirt at any time? So that was something that I really wanted to do. But they had this amazing gift shop and like a whole exhibit. But the highlight of the Living Museum was this Victorian mansion that had been built. And I had been on that tour so many goddamn times. When the tour guides would like ask questions, and I knew all of the questions that they were going to ask. So I knew all of the answers to the questions. And then if they didn't say like an anecdote that was like my favorite, I would like chime in with like, the anecdote that I had learned on like one of the 18 other times that I had been on that tour. So I'm sure I was like,
Allie.
I'm sure that I was like a really fun time.
Oh my God, I'm sure they had a picture of you in the back of staff. Like, watch out when this little girl comes because you're going to hate the tour.
That's kind of.
She's going to ask you all the questions and ruin all your scripts.
Yeah. And I really wanted to work there. Like when I turned 16,
This
I
is
didn't
so
end up doing that.
cute.
But so all of that to say, like, I was very into like the Victorian era and like the weird stuff that they did with their hair and the hoop skirts and like all of that stuff. And they were very into the occult. So that was, anyway.
Here we are, like, I'm texting you, like, ooh, are you going to do this? You're like, what are you talking
And
about?
I was like, yes, I will. But I have not thought about it for a second. So Amber, tell me about yours and then you can help me brainstorm for me.
So I was on Zoom writing the morning that there were a few of us that like thought of it. So we were brainstorming different things with ICE to put in the email so people could have examples. And so pretty early on, I knew someone was writing hockey right away and some other, and I wanted to leave some of the more popular ICE themes or sports to other people. But when we thought of curling, my husband curls. He loves curling. He's on a league every winter.
That's so Minnesota of you. I love it so much.
I know, very Minnesotan. And so I have my own little like expert on the side that, I mean, I obviously know some because I go and watch occasionally, but I'm by no means an expert. So I'm like, I have my own little like subject matter expert on call. So why wouldn't I do this? So that's how I knew I wanted to do curling. So I just picked curling right away. And then again, it was more like pumping myself up and going back to be like, okay, we're in ideation stage and it's only 1 to 3,000 words. So how am I going to get this across? So I knew for sure I wanted a scene where he doesn't know she's there. He's by himself in the rink, maybe practicing throwing stones. That's what they call the big rock. They call it a stone. And for those of you who are maybe or maybe not familiar with curling, one person will throw the stone, but they usually do a deep lunge and they hold that pose and then they just let go with their hand and they spin it. It's like very precise.
Yeah.
And so, but I want her to come in and see him and kind of be like lusty over his deep lunge and his hold
Oh,
and stuff, right?
yeah.
So that was like my initial inspiration of like, okay, so I know this scene needs to be like in the middle or pivotal, but now how do I create the circumstances around that for that to occur? And again, also we're in a really short word count. So what I'm working at right now, again, if any of this stays, is they're going to be on a co-ed league together. He's curled like his whole life, so he's very big into curling. She's been new in the last couple of years, but they've been on this league together, and she has been crushing on him for a long time. But her backstory is she joined the curling league as a challenge from her therapist as exposure therapy post-COVID. To like
Oh, I love that.
get her out of the house, to like try something new, but it had to be active, like out of your comfort zone. You know you need to get out. I know you need to get out. And we were working through your anxieties, all of those things. So I really like that element. And so they know each other and they're friends. But anyway, so her car breaks down and she's on hold in the parking lot with AAA. And it's freezing and she's finally meeting defeat. She's still on hold. Anybody who's used AAA, when the weather's really bad and it's cold and it's snowy, that happens because the calls are like, there's so many intake calls. So she's going to come back in hoping somebody is still there. And lo and behold, who is going to be staying late, practicing his throws by himself? So that's kind of the setup.
Cute.
So do you like it? I know I haven't told you about this yet. So then,
No, this is brand new.
and then
I
he's
knew it
going to
was
see
curling, and I love that.
And then eventually he's going to see her and come over and worry because she's obviously bundled and been outside that whole time. So he's going to like warm her up and be all worried and concerned and looking. So a little bit of care there, right? Like not a bleeding wound, but like you're cold and need to like warm you up.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
What is your working title?
Okay, right now my working title, are you ready for it?
I'm so
Is a
ready for it.
sweeping romance. Because in curling with the little, they call them brooms, but when they like rub the ice to make it go farther, that's called sweeping. And then the dual term of sweeping, like a broad romance, because they were friends to lovers. A sweeping romance. I don't know. We'll see if it stays, but I kind of really like it. And it's a little punny.
I really like it. I love that.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I have about, I could tell you. How many words do I have? 81 words written so far.
Okay, girl.
But it's crazy because like she's just entering the curling rink from being outside. I'm like, God, 81 words are gone already. I got a lot of stuff to cover in only 3,000 words. Stay tuned on where that goes. I need to find names for them too. I don't know why. I'm having a hard time picking names this time. Do you got any names that pop out? You know what my thing is? And again, I'm going to have to get over it. Sometimes I think of a name and I'm like, oh, I know somebody with that name. But like, you got to get over that because like, you know so many people.
What about, I mean, I think.
I first thought of Caden as the boy name, but then that sounds too much like Aiden right now. So maybe I'll use that for a different story. And then I thought of Danny, but I didn't love that. And then
I feel like you need like a Nordic name, you know?
Leif.
Like a Nordic last name, you know, like somebody Sorensen, you know?
Oh, good. I should pull it out from when we were pregnant, a really good baby naming book. I should pull that out because it's just like a list of names.
Idea.
I usually have it down here as a resource, and I just forgot I had it. So stay tuned. I'm going to use the baby hot tip from Smut and Sensibility. It's not a writing craft book, but you can use it as such. A baby name book.
You absolutely can.
Have it nearby. No. You can't think of a name? Open a page. Take a gander.
I think that's a really, really good idea. I love that. I'm so excited. And I have to say that much like Americans every 4 years when we have the Winter Olympics, which we do have this year, I get super obsessed with curling. And so
I don't know if I knew this about you.
Yeah, I've tried to go curling a couple of times. They have like open nights.
They do.
And so when we were living in Atlanta, I tried to go, but I got the flu. Like Daniel and I were scheduled to go for like a date night. And I literally was like in bed with body aches and the flu. And it was pretty devastating. And then I tried to go again in residency, but we were going to go as like a group, but that would happen to be like COVID winter. So
again, it's just like all the things fell through.
We didn't end up going because I think we were going to go like in March of 2020 and we had like found the place and it had just been.
And March 31st, the World Health Organization was like,
and everyone was getting like hyped up for, Olympics and stuff. So that ultimately got
Can we add this to our wish list next winter? Whether Daniel wants to
I
come.
know
Maybe
where you're going with
I
this,
know.
and my answer is 100%
Okay,
yes.
you need to come. And I feel
I
like we could
do.
maybe get Daniel to come. And
I do.
especially since like Patrick has an inn at the curling club in St. Paul.
Yeah.
It's not the St. Paul Curling Club, but it's called Frogtown Curling.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends from law school is on his team, Craig
Yeah.
C. Money, if you're listening, shout
See
out.
money.
So that's kind of fun too, that like we'll know some people and I'm sure we could do a learn and throw stones or come on a weekend when there's a bond spiel. That's what they call their tournaments. So that's always fun because there's like food and drinks and there's different,
Oh, yeah. I would
matches
so
throughout the
love to
day.
do that. I'm so here for it. And I mean, maybe I've just been waiting this whole time to like have an in at a curling club with like people that I personally know that are curlers versus just like,
Husband of
random
the pod
husband of the
has got
pod
you.
teaching me curling. Like that sounds amazing.
And I actually haven't tried curling yet either because it was kind of similarly
God.
like
Yeah.
we were going to do it together. And then he obviously did it his nights and his league. And then the open curling nights never really worked. And then COVID happened. And then
Yeah.
I got pregnant. And then we had a little kid. So like when he goes curls, I can't be like, peace out, Lachlan. Watch yourself. Deuces.
Deuces.
But I love this. So yeah, I also like the idea of having sometimes lesser known sports or activities in a romance because I think it's just fun to live different lifestyles or different experiences through other people's eyes. And there's nothing wrong with hockey romances. Like, girl, I'm writing one, right? So like,
Yeah.
you love it. But again, like I don't know if I've heard of a curling romance. I'm sure there's one out there, but they're probably not as well known. Also,
Yeah.
what is it called?
Not at least not in the volume that like we have hockey
Yeah,
romances.
so it's always so
and
fun to kind of
stuff.
like find the niche topics that maybe haven't been as explored as much, just so there's like more available. So then I'm sure there are some
Yeah.
people that love curling and it'll be like, oh my God, a curling romance? Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds so good and I'm into it. And I, would challenge you since you are working on a hockey romance, like, maybe this is the start of like your second one in that,
I know when you
interconnected
said that
situation.
when you said the prompt from the last one made you create a story, I was like, oh God, is this going to be like my second in the series and it's going to have to take place in Pine Harbor too?
It
I don't know.
It might. It honestly might. Maybe there's
We
like
don't hate this.
an Olympian that's fallen from grace.
And he's back running the
and
rink
is back.
in a surly.
Yeah, or maybe there's someone that's like trying to go to the Olympics and
Yeah.
there's a new coach in town. Like, who's to say?
Who's to say what's gonna happen? Oh my gosh.
But-
Yay. So thank you for
Yeah.
pumping me up as you always do. So that's where we're at. Stay tuned. Okay. We need to ideate
Yeah,
for
we need to
you.
ideate for me.
We need to catch you up because we have a 2-week deadline for this too for the
I know
listeners.
that's a hot deadline.
It's a hot deadline, so we can
That
get
is
it
a
out
hot
timely
deadline for a cool story. I'm really sorry.
Get
That
it.
was so bad.
It's in there. It's staying.
It's so good. It is my personal shame. But I have been lightly noodling this since we said that we were gonna, do a mini-sode about this today. And like when I started writing a couple of years ago, I had like a ton of ideas that were, maybe not all of them were winners, but I have like a document.
You don't know if they're winners or not. I like how you're being shady in your idea document. Don't be mean to them.
I mean, my idea document, like there's some good stuff that I would probably pull like pieces or whatever, but things that I thought would be like a good story kind of like don't really have enough like oomph to them. And that's not to
Or
say
plot.
that I can't
It's just vibes.
Yeah, that I cannot like rework them and add some more stuff to them to make them viable. But definitely, I think how I thought about, what would be a good story idea and what would make me want to write a story is very different than now, in that I think that I tend to think a little bit more about conflict as we go forward, that I didn't really think much about conflict. And I think I probably delayed some of the conflict as like, this buildup, but like that doesn't really need to happen. Anyway, all of that to say, I did come up with like an idea around skiing a couple of years ago. And I think that I think skiing will probably be the sport that I choose because I do ski, specifically downhill skiing. So, and I live on the East Coast now where, famously our slopes are basically ice. So I feel like that's
Luging on ski is what skiing.
That works. And, I think I could easily work in some different stuff there. But the original story idea that I had kind of centered around ski medicine, which I think I haven't really written anything medical related. Like
No.
I had read Love Hypothesis back sort of around the time that I was starting to get into creative writing. And I just felt like so seen in like graduate school STEM stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think like my first several ideas for stories were actually like in the
STEM.
medical world. And I don't know if it just like, I sort of had like a challenging relationship with my job after I graduated from fellowship. So I don't know if if I went away from those ideas because I just felt like I needed something different.
Also
Yeah,
spend my
this is
creative
like
time
bumming me
bumming
out.
me
And
out.
I made some sort of career pivots that like really helped. And I feel very different than I did 2 years ago, which is a good thing. Because how I felt about it 2 years ago was not good. But all of that to say is that, you know, I haven't really readdressed or revisited any of those medical ideas since that time. And it might be kind of fun to do that. It might be something different compared to like what other people might do in the anthology. So I think the idea that I had originally had was taking place in a ski town. And I came up with this idea around the time that I was actually doing a ski medicine rotation in fellowship. And there was a clinic at the base of the hill, quite literally. And so we saw a ton of people that sacrificed their ACLs on that mountain.
Ugh.
RIP. Amber, that's a little too close to home for
I was
you.
just going to say, as someone who's had 2 torn ACLs and reconstruction surgeries, I'm like cringing over here.
Yeah. Locations, you know, we saw people that were brought in from ski patrol, and we did a lot of fracture management and stuff as well, and like injury stuff. So I think that
You got the
could be kind of-
knowledge. You got not even just the knowledge,
think that
like
could
you
be
are
kind
a
of
subject
interesting.
matter expert.
Yeah, and I had kind of thought about in that situation maybe doing a classic one night stand and he ends up being your boss or somebody important, you know, in your new
Classic.
job.
Yeah.
I think that might be kind of fun. And I think that would be like an easy, what we could consider like a first chapter. And I could sort of wrap up the romance and kind of leave it on a satisfying cliffhanger a little bit of them discovering that this person that I like had a one night stand with, like, and I could have that be sort of the ending of.
Get you. So we're like starting from the one night stand. We get to see
starting
that
from the
the
one night
sauciness.
stand and then
and
having
then
like the
ending
end.
it.
Yeah, having like the end, you know, being like walking into clinic and being like
You're doing the readers dirty in the best way. Like you're gonna end on a really big cliffhanger and be like, but I want more. Hence you're gonna actually then write
it's
it.
not necessarily like a cliffhanger, so to say, but it's, you know, there's questions. There's now more questions than answers, which I mean, I think that's kind of fun. And I think that could be a fun like launch pad. So I was thinking about that. I was also thinking maybe like a ski instructor situation. So that's like one idea is sort of like ski medicine, one night stand with like your future boss, but like you don't know that yet.
I kind of like, just because you sound more excited about it, the one night stand with the boss, and you have the medical you haven't used. And plus, I'm just thinking of logistics for 1 to 3,000 words for ski instructors on the slope. Like, there's just so many. I'm assuming you're gonna have spice in it. Like, there's just so many layers and just like the practicality of like getting it on in the middle of the slope. I think as someone who's skied, which we both do,
We do,
like
yeah.
it just. I don't know.
That's true.
How it
Yeah.
would be realistically done within that short time frame. Not that you couldn't
Yeah.
do it. It just sounds like it'd be a
Yeah.
little more challenging. Unless maybe they're
Yeah.
at the chalet or something, like they're taking a break to get some hot cocoa at the chalet and someone gets pushed
Yeah.
up against the back
Ooh.
wall on the way to the
Uh-huh.
bathrooms or something.
I was also thinking of maybe an Olympian, you know, someone who's like training for the Olympics, that's a ski racer or something like that.
Hmm.
I think I would have to. I do feel like a little bit.
Oh,
more
that could be
drawn-
fun. And
Yeah.
that they get hurt. And then the doctor is the one that's like treating them and knows who they are and how important it is. And that's how like
We can't have a doctor-patient romance.
Oh yeah, duh. Yep.
No, we can't. That's
Yeah, we
ethically
cannot.
a bad idea. In
What
general.
damn it.
No. Yeah, so that's the I think a lot of people go in that direction, and for me as someone that is a doctor, the idea of
the
doing
oaths and
that like
things.
makes me physically ill. You know, it's
Yeah,
sort of
no.
like if you're a teacher and you read like a student teacher romance, you're like, ugh.
Yeah, same with like attorneys. Like if you're done
Like
being the
attorney
client,
client.
like
Uh-huh.
you
Yeah,
can be
so
done, but
that's-
even still, you're like, you know so much about.
Unfortunately, I did read, and I didn't know that it was going to be sort of like a doctor-patient situation. It was like a book that we read for book club that went off like huge on TikTok, and it was not for me for like a lot of reasons.
But that from the very beginning, you were like,
But that I
dang
was
it.
like, she has a lot more to be worried about than, the paparazzi. The medical board is coming for her because she's not having sex with just one of her players that she's treating. She's having sex with a couple of them.
Ooh.
And yeah. So
Let's just like, if we're going to break the rules, let's just really break the rules.
So that is not something that I want to read, nor do I want to write it. But
Makes
I was
sense.
kind of thinking maybe like athlete and maybe like rival's brother or something. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like
What's your gut telling you? Like, I love all of these options, but I feel like we're getting more broad than narrowing in to help you write.
The thing is,
This
I feel like
3,000
the
word,
idea,
and you've got like 8 days. How many days? Because a week is already gone.
not that many days, to be so clear.
You have 11 days. Like, maybe
we just go with the first. We just go with the first one because I had that one sort
excited
of like
about it, and it's been in the parking lot, and I really liked it. And let's be real, this is all about me.
Okay, we are only writing for Amber's whims.
It's true,
yeah.
Guys.
No,
well,
I think.
Are you not excited about that one? Are you not excited about it?
No, I am excited about it. I think
said with the most like, no, I am really excited.
So I am excited about it.
I don't want to share too much.
Because I've talked to Sam because I really loved like the story that I wrote for you for your Secret Santa.
I told you like I want that expanded.
I think
again, it's all about me. It's all about
and unfortunately, also for me, I started coming up with ideas for like Victorian romances this past week.
'Tis the season of glorious ladies.
Just like learning about the railroads, and I was like, oh, there's some conflicts here that we could have across like romantic leads. Anywho, that's a separate conversation and not for this one. But no, I am excited about that one. I feel like I'm being a little precious about it, and I'm gonna not do that. So
you are, but I'm like, this is a safe space because I could tell like we started off good, but then you just kept getting broader and like way different ideas and different people, and like you seem to get less and less excited.
No, I think I think like an athlete romance of like a ski racer would be really fun, but I think I just don't have enough time to do that.
So you do need some backstory, but you don't need a lot. So maybe if there's just like one scene that feels like you can add some background around.
I think the easiest thing to do is I think that I just do this idea that I have had and like tweak it a little bit. And if I decide to reuse that or rewrite that or repurpose that like in the future, great, amazing. But like the other thing about these ideas is that I have so many ideas and I have probably like not enough life to live and time to spend to like write them. No, it's like so true. And I know that
but you just now went really dark.
I know that sounds
You're
really
a vibe
morbid,
today.
But I think one of the things that I'm trying really hard to do is be like less precious and be a little bit less rule followy, because truthfully, there are no rules. And like just because that things have conventionally been done a certain way, which is, people typically say like, oh, don't share that much about like what you're working on. And some of that has to do with like, if you are under contract with a publisher, they don't want you to talk about that. And that's not what I'm talking about.
No, like we don't have it. Yeah.
If you're a person on the internet and you don't, and you're just sort of a free person working on stuff, like why not share? Because you can learn a lot from other people. Other people can learn from you. And giving people information about stuff gets them excited and invested, and you then create a group of people that care about your shit and
want to see you succeed.
And like are invested in your characters. And like that's one of the reasons why like our writing group is so great, is because you go to class every week and you have several people that know exactly about your characters, and like they know, like they're very familiar with them too, and they know them as people too. And you don't always get that in your day-to-day life with like other family and friends. So I'm going to go with the first idea, even though I do kind of like a ski racer thing, but I just don't logistically have the time to do that. So I think I'm going to do the ski medicine one. If I decide to write this story later, I'll change some stuff and
zhuzh it up, baby.
Do it.
We have some decisiveness, a decision. Also, now you can get started because, like you said, you literally have 4 days.
I've got 4 days technically.
So, like first draft,
editing, before work, but essentially, I have like 4 non-working days.
Yeah,
to
more than
this.
4 consecutive days, but 4 non-working days.
Yeah, 4 non-working days, and we've got other stuff to do on those non-working days.
We're busy. What?
What?
What else do we do with our time?
Yeah, that's so crazy. Who, us? So yeah, so I think that's what we're gonna do. Amber is gonna write a curling situation. We're gonna have a lot of thick man thighs, it sounds like, and like good curling butts.
Oh yeah, and like focus on like the big hands, but also like the like,
Ooh.
you know,
Yeah.
curling. That's where the
Yeah,
curl
the good
comes in,
ang,
right? The
the good
twisting of the
ang, the good fine
stone.
motor skills, you know?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. And then I'm gonna write this one night stand situation. Ski
Skiing, medicine, I'm
medicine, like
down.
one night stand, secret boss. So I think that's what I'm going to work on. So if you guys are interested in supporting this cause and supporting Smut U, we have a bunch of other writers that are working on their own stories for this anthology. If you are interested, go ahead and click on the link below, and we should be available wherever you are able to find some books, and we'll include everything down below.
There's a lot of people out there that are doing a lot of activism around this right now, and especially in the bookish community. I wanted to give a shout out to Mary E. Roach has started a fundraiser for the community and network of Minnesota. They're on the ground trying to get food to people who need it. I know that Ellie Palmer and also Tropes and Trifles hopped on that as well and are doing their own like giveaways for people who donate. So it's just kind of it's fun to see the community rally around and care about everyone. Also, we've talked about Abby Jimenez before. She lives in Minnesota. On her Instagram, she has a separate tag titled Human Rights, and she addresses more issues there. One of which I should try to find the post and tag it below, which I didn't really think about. She talks about animals that a lot of these people are just being taken in the middle of the day, right? They can't go back home. Animals are being displaced. So the shelters are going to be having an increase of need. So, Allie, as you were mentioning before, not everyone can physically protest. So, if you have felt like you want to do something but felt paralyzed, like you don't know how, and the physically protesting isn't a means to do it, if you're able and have a safe environment, fostering temporarily the animal shelters it doesn't cost you anything. They'll provide you all the food and equipment, but just providing a safe home for these animals because there's not going to have enough. Also, too, if like people are walking their dogs are even being targeted. So like dogs are just in the streets as well. If you know neighbors that are afraid to leave their house, she mentions like offering to walk their dog for them. So like even just, it doesn't seem as big of an impact, but talk about how that neighbor would feel. Or just if everybody does little acts of kindness everywhere, it really adds up. We just want to do something and do our part, and it's just really hard. And we're here for everyone and spreading joy and kindness in the way that we can, because, you know, we here on the podcast think love overcomes hate every time. Like, not only is that the truth in our stories for typical romance outlines, but just in life, we want to not stoop to the level of hate.
Yeah. And everybody deserves love, period.
Yeah.
And period. End of sentence.
Everyone, all humans, period.
All humans, and
animals.
Everybody deserves kindness and respect. And yeah, I think there's a lot of really good work that's going on. And let me tell you, people that are used to living in cold climates, community is really important. And I think that comes back from like the old-timey spirit of like, you could literally perish without the assistance of your neighbors in your community under harsh weather and physical conditions. And I definitely think that it's really great seeing everybody come together, and I'm excited to be part of a project to help raise money to support our good friends and neighbors in Minnesota.
Thank you guys for listening. Again, if you're interested, check it out. It should be available, the Anthology. Thanks again, you guys, for joining us for this manuscript minisode. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. If you do choose to support the Anthology, thank you so much on behalf of Smut University and for fundraising to help the efforts here locally in Minnesota for some of us. We hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always, stay smutty. Bye, you guys.
Bye.